Hello, everyone. We're glad to be back on YouTube ASSIPI channels for our 2022 season, coming up with 10 new episodes of Let's Talk About It. Today, the topic is energetic self-defense, an ability of paramount importance in our daily interaction with people, interactions with people in places, right? Energetic self-defense involves a string of very ordinary situations we go through in our everyday life, such as prophylactic energy, cleaning, sympathetic assimilation, sympathetic de-assimilation, energetic shooting, vampirization, and apart from that, mastering our energies to be free from pathological intrusion is an essential condition to be departal, okay, an intrusion-free consciousness. But before and first and foremost, it's important to say the principle of disbelief that we use here in Conscientiology is something very important to say before any activity. Don't believe in anything, not even in what we say here in our talk. Experiment, have your own personal experiences. Right, people? Okay, to talk about energetic self-defense today, let me introduce you to our team of very experienced Conscientiology teachers and lecturers. Jade Curvelo, welcome back to Let's Talk in 2022. Jade is an electrical engineer and has been working as a volunteer in Conscientiology since 2021, right, Jade? And as
Yes,
a teacher, speaker, and researcher since 2003 in the technical scientific area. Welcome, Jade.
thank you for having me one more time again in this terrific, well, not terrific, but it's an amazing program that we ASSIPI promote and
Good,
debate this
Jade.
important subject.
Very nice. Sister Schunemann is the other talker today. Sister works with business development and partnerships. He lives in Germany, has been studying teaching and research in Conscientiology since 1993, and has been volunteer at the CP since December 2020. Welcome, Sister.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here to discuss about this topic, self-energetic defense. I think it's very nice to talk about this topic. Thank you.
Very nice, Cicero. Marcelo Duffles is CFO and entrepreneur with a degree in economics, postgraduated in retail and foreign trade, with a master degree in business administration, volunteering Conscientiology since 2007, and instructor of Conscientiology since 2010. Welcome, Marcelo.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
Very good, but it's important to introduce Conscientiology, what it's all about. It is a neuroscience, right? Charlie, can you please?
Okay, of course. Conscientiology is the science that studies the consciousness as a whole, with all its bodies, extents, experience, times and place of life in an integral, productive, and self-conscious approach in relation to the various existential dimensions. Consciousness is me, you, it's all people in human life and all self-conscious beings of dimensions outside of human life. Consciousness paradigm is focused on bioenergies, multidimensionals, and pluri-existential scopes, self-research, cosmoethics, universalism, and holosoma.
That's right. It's very important to say that Conscientiology has more than 20 institutions, right? Each of them specialized in one specific topic of research. ASSIPI is specialized in parapsychism. Marcelo, what is ASSIPI? Could you introduce ASSIPI to people today?
Of course, ASSIPI is a conscientiocentric institution specialized in the study, research, development, and practical use of parapsychism. Aiming at the mature use of self-parapsychism, it stands for International Association of Interstitial Parapsychism.
Very good. And it's important to explain exactly what is parapsychism, right? This is the specialty of ASSIPI.
Yeah, parapsychism is the set of advanced perceptions of consciousness, in addition of the 5 basic senses of the human body. It is an inherent skill to every individual and can be rationally enhanced free from any religions, connections, or mystical institutions. And
All right.
initiate.
Okay, so it's important to explain exactly the parapsychism, because we are going to talk about it in actually all of our talk, right? So, and to add to this introduction, right, I would like to say about the ASSIPI in English project, which is a project inside the institution. It's part of the institution's project. The ASSIPI in English project is aimed to promote the ideas of conscientiology worldwide. The project is essentially focused on the study, research, and use for practice of parapsychism. Okay, people, now we're back to talk about energetic self-defense. I'm here with the English-Portuguese glossary of essential conscientiological terms, right? It's available at Editaris, right? Also online, explaining that we have lots of terms of conscientiological terms, neologisms, right? And the topic today is energetic self-defense, which, according to the glossary, means the capacity of the consciousness to put themselves in a cosmoethical protected condition with regard to negative, intrusive, and pathological energies and nations external to their consciential micro-universe. Okay, we are going to explain all these terms. We're going to be very didactic today because we know there might be lots of people first times in conscientiology, right? We're trying to make the things very palatable and easy to understand, okay? But we start with this definition of what energetic self-defense is. And I would like just to start this conversation by saying something that's very important, because we are now talking about energies, okay, people? So we don't see energies, we feel energies. We feel the repercussions of energies on our body, in our energetic body as well. So the importance of be aware of the role of the energies in our everyday life is very, very important and essential. So I would like to ask, for example, Marcelo. So what's the first approach to energy? We go to places we may feel bad, or we talk to some people, you may feel bad as well, or you may feel well, you may feel very, happy in some situations and so on. What actually, how is this? Let's just start by explaining to people how energies, how these interactions of energies work in our everyday life, Marcelo.
Yeah, of course. I think the first thing you have to feel is to know your energies and to know when it's disturbed and when it changes. Then, when you go out and you talk with neighbors, when you go out in the street, when you arrive at work, uh, when you go to the gym or any place else, so if you know your level of energy, your own energy, and you interact with other energies, then you'll be certain that there is something in the atmosphere and the connection. So you go to places where you don't feel well, or you get to know people where you feel really good with those people or bad, and um, sometimes you can perceive that someone else's is weak, and you can exteriorize your energies and feel the connection and feel the improvement. So it's like know yourself and know your energies and know the distinction when it's in interaction with other energies from places and people and consciousness.
Definitely, I would also highlight the importance of knowing our own energies, right? Shader.
First of all, I was listening Marcelo, and I think about the energy. I think it's important thing about the bioenergy. All creatures emanate energy. So it's the first point. So the energy is qualified by no, I mean, our thoughts and our sentiments. And when you invest in your self knowledge and try to understand more about yourself, you can discriminate this kind of energies because you feel normally the people don't know where this kind of feelings come, but when you invest in your self knowledge, you start to understand how you works as a consciousness. Then you can discriminate this kind of energy. You know, I don't know if you are understanding me. If you, our colleagues, can contribute with this information. But first of all, I think to try to discriminate this kind of energy and understand which tools you have to use it to discriminate, to defend yourself, to help other consciousness. I don't know. It's I think it's the first step to understand how it works. This kind of bioenergies, you know.
Yeah, sure. And maybe it would be very interesting to mention here the definition of Thozine, right? The Thozine
Yes,
theory,
yes,
which is
sorry.
a unit standing for thought, sentiment, and energy, right? Okay, the practical unit of manifestations of the consciousness. Cicero.
Yeah, about also this topic that was seen, the thoughts, sentiments, and energies. I think in the daily life, many people, I think they have the perception of places, for example, or people, or some situation that they perceive the energy is not so good. So sometimes, for example, a subway or a casino or many different places don't need to be a typical place where are bad energies, but sometimes a specific store. You sometimes you feel better in one specific place and not so good in another. Sometimes also with some people that we talk and we can perceive that sometimes it's a little bit dense. Okay, after, for example, 20 minutes of talk, is like that's enough. We need to have our time because it was too much, too intense. Sometimes to be with interacting with some people. I think many people, in general, they have. Perceptions of this. And when we come to this topic, for example, related to self-defense, I think the important is really what you mentioned in the beginning, really to be aware. So how to become more aware, how to develop techniques, how to improve. So it's something that we can really learn on how to use and how to develop our skills related to self-defense, related to bioenergies, related to mastering energies and things like this. Yeah. And one topic then you just mentioned is this. One part of this learning curve, I think it's really to try to discriminate and to understand this idea of tosin, that's thoughts, sentiment, and energies. And then we come to a very closer concept that we call also holotosin. That's more or less um, the total accumulation of energies, of thoughts, sentiments, and energies. This we call for specific places and so on. We call that they have an holotosin. So what people think in that environment, what people have of feelings or emotions, and automatically this is all the time happens every time, always has an energetic process. So the energy becomes impregnated in a place. Could be good energies, neutral energies, or not good energies. So, of course, to discriminate this, to understand this, to perceive different types of energies, I think we can develop always in a better level. Sometimes what is very somebody has the perception almost immediately when entering a bubble of energy, almost perceive immediately. Some other people will perceive sometimes later, only when come back home, perceive I'm with a headache, I'm not feeling so good, I'm with no energy. So this is something that I think we can learn. And one aspect is, of course, to identify the energies. Also, Marcelo mentioned in the beginning, to know our energies so we can better perceive when there is a different type of energy in the place we are. So I think we can expand also this theme during our conversation today.
Okay, and it's important concerning awareness, as you said, that whether you are aware of it or not, the energies are there, having the process, So as they have this course, natural course, it's good for us to be aware of them, right? And to know how to master our energies and to read the energies from the external consciousness or place. Okay, it's also important to emphasize that the Thousand is a unit of thought, sentiment, and energies, which these elements are indissociable, right? They are noticed, they are perceived and read all together, right? That's the reason why sometimes when we are communicating, for example, through telepathy, right? The telepathy is one of the topics that we will have this year, right? But when we are in a telepathic communication, we also feel the message and the energy at the same time, and consequently the emotions that this energy and sentiment carry, right? So this is indissociable, right? Sentiment, thoughts, and energy. And we have one more, the first question today, coming up with Murilo Vieira. He asks, how to develop an energetic body without mysticism? Marcelo.
Okay. I think how to develop an energetic body is, I think the first tip is to work with your energy, to mobilize your energies. We have some techniques to mobilize your energies, to master your energies. Like we have the closed circuit that you mobilize your energies through your body, and you exteriorize your energies and you absorb the energies from the environment. So you have some techniques that you can develop to develop your mastery without mysticism, feeling your energies and practicing your energies. And with that exercises, then you interact after doing these exercises and without, and you can see the difference. So there's no mystic truth that will be revealed. It will be you by yourself working with your energies and trying to test it during your daily life. So that's how you develop an energetic body without mysticism. We can
Cicero,
go further with
okay.
the self-defense, but go ahead, Cecil.
Yeah, okay. Ah, no, please, you can continue. Then I, if you want to continue, please.
No, I finished.
Okay,
I think we'll talk
then,
about self-defense after.
okay. Okay, so the idea, I think also very important about mysticism is that depends on the personality. Some people are more mystic, and I think this type of subjects related to multidimensionality, out of body experiences, bioenergies have been in the past very connected to mystical aspects because people do not have many space on science to discuss more serious these topics. So it was there was a lot of restrictions. So sometimes you need to hide some information to just get normal acceptance by society and things like this. And I think every time now it's becoming more and more open, and scientific approach for many topics are being very common to be used. So I think in the past was a little bit more difficult to really be to find this knowledge in a scientific approach. But I think if the personality, if it's the people that are more scientific, that likes the scientific approach, they can find easily now information that deals with more technical research, technical development of techniques, and really more develop research really more deeply with groups of research, debates about the topics and things like this. So it's not only a fantasy or something that somebody has on mind, but it has a scientific approach in terms of consensus, in terms of debates, in terms of development of new ideas. So, and I think this we are in this approach. I think we are in the beginning. Maybe for several centuries, this planet did not give too much attention for these topics, and maybe we have really a lot of things to develop in terms of this science, okay, in this approach, more in a scientific approach. So I think this mysticism, it can be more connected to personalities and also opportunities. Some people like this topic, but in the past they didn't find other alternative. Only in the mystical they find topics like this, but now it's becoming more and more different. So I think there is more space for scientific approach, and let's enjoy it. Let's be part of this movement. So thank you for the question, Murilo.
And it's also important to say, Cicero, adding to what you mentioned, is that mysticism is actually a set of knowledge, procedures, routines, and rites to do something, right? It's just a matter of how you approach to it. Mystical things, for example, go through ages and ages, for centuries, with symbols or representations of procedures, of abilities, and but here in Conscientiology, we are based on science, which is we are based on the self-experimentation, right? So just to add that, Chadri, would like to say something about this?
Yes, yes. I would like to contribute with Cicero. Mention about the science. Today, we need to pay attention to our zeitgeist. It's good have opportunity to discuss this with scientific view. For example, I have two books. I really like this writers. Russell Targ is a good researcher about the clairvoyance and telepathy and other stuff like the other one is gene rating. Of course, this they use another kind of paradigm, but it's very common. You find some books talk about this subject. So is to eliminate this mysticism. Another tip is reading. Read something scientific, but I think it's our paradigm amplify this view of this phenomenon. It's my contribution for this discussion.
Very good, Jada. As you are talking about, as you are speaking of books, it's important to say something. Um, Editaris, right? The publisher from Conscientiology is spreading out its wings worldwide. This is a very fantastic endeavor, right? Uh, um, that the Editaris is doing at the moment, in this initiative to get connected to several um, libraries around the world, as well as websites in which you can find the Editaris collection. Right. I would just like to put here in the footnote the link for you to access Editaris. Right, Editaris in the international market. Okay, editaris.org.br/Editaris amplia alcance no mercado internacional. This is really amazing initiative by Editaris. I congratulate people there for this initiative, and we are now actually having books in Germany, China, United States, Canada, Australia, Italy, Poland. A slew of country, indeed. Okay, so fantastic. If you want to get connected to the books from Editaria and you live outside Brazil, abroad, so get connected to this link and see where you can buy these books near you, possibly in your own country. We have another question from Luis Henrique, right? The question is, could you please expand the idea about the eventual risk of people encapsulating themselves as a self-defense technique, but keeping pathological energies inside? What can be done in those cases? That's a very good question from our friend Luis Henrique from IIPC. How are you, Luis? Nice to have you here in our talk today. It's a very good question. Why? Because we haven't mentioned here in our talk today. We are just about to do it, but not yet. The vibrational state, right? The vibrational state, which is a kind of prophylactic technique to cleanse our energies, right? But sometimes we do the vibrational state, but we still feel bad. The vibrational state doesn't work. Why, people? Why does it happen? Let's answer Luis Henrique's question. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I just like start then this idea. There is what we call a coupling or an assimilation of energies that could be energies from the environment or energies from other consciousness, and many times is also a combination of both. Okay, when we say consciousness, could be both intraphysical, like we here, or also extraphysical consciousness, or that consciousness that is in a period between in two interphysical lives. Okay, so in conscientiology, we deal with this idea that we have not only this actual interphysical life, but we have been living for a long time, and we have moments, periods out of in the extraphysical environment, and then we have a new life here interphysically. Okay, so it's basically our same life in terms of consciousness, but we have different moments. And so just to clarify this, and then when we came to this idea that somebody is still with pathological energies inside or closer to yourself, the idea is that there is a type of assimilation of pathological energies. This assimilation many times is very connected that there is another consciousness closer, many times extra-physical consciousness closer to that person, or being interacting, like say like this. Okay, so this makes the person to feel these bad or pathological energies, because the energies are not like your energies, but you are perceiving outside energies that make interference in your energetic feelings. So one aspect is I believe when Mario mentioned about also the vibration states, a technique where you can move the energies to optimize your energies. And of course, sometimes if you do not have very good developed this technique, it will be not enough. Sometimes it's not enough. It's good to have different techniques to do what? To do what I say, the de-assimilation of energies. De-assimilation is when you connect first with the energies that are pathological, for example, but then you need to find a way to keep away of these energies. The vibrational state is very good for this, but also you can do several other things. One very important aspect that I'd like to highlight is to keep your personal balance, your balance of your emotional aspect. If you go in a bad sentiment, if you feel angry or you feel discomfort with that situation, and you go to the emotional reaction, it seems that your energies enter in a field of pattern of energies that are not helpful to detach, to disconnect. So sometimes it makes it even easier to be connected to that pathological energies. So you, instead of being in the opposite pattern of toxins or thoughts, sentiments, and energies, you go more closer to that similar pattern of energies. So I think it's very important to start. I think there are much more things maybe we are going to discuss also today, but a good start for me is to keep more rationality, more trying to be more aware of what's happening and don't enter in the emotional condition to exalt and to expand that pathological feelings. Okay, that's it.
Very nice, Cicero, Marcelo, and Ochadar. Okay.
I would like just add something. Cicero told us something very important. Normally, you work with your energies. We install the vibrational state, but the kind of the pattern of the energy, the pathological energy, continues. The thing is our thoughting, the quality of our thoughting. Sometimes you need to change this block of the whole kind of sentiments and thought. You need to change, because if you still thinking the same thing, you will still connected with this pattern of energy. So we need to install your vibrational state and change the block of ideas and the sentiments. Okay.
Very nice. Marcelo would like to add something?
Yeah, I think that there are two answers to Luis Henrique question. Is like uh, one, if the pathological energies is yourself, it is inside you. So you had a fight with someone and you were angry, or if you were feeling sad or something like that, and you encapsulate yourself with that pathological energies. The thing is to be healthy to avoid that. It's good to know your emotions. You can't hide. Sometimes we hide bad emotions from ourselves, and it's good to take a moment during a week or a day to think about the emotions that you have during the day, the good ones and the bad ones, and having true enlightenment of your emotions. Then, if you know your bad emotions, the bad relationships you have, so you will be more uh, capable of dealing with those tough experiences. So it won't be something that you're trying to hide, but you are facing and you are trying to develop and increase it. So you have to know how you are, and when you are in those bad moments, then you try to change the block of thoughts that you have, your thought things. Go for a walk, mobilize your energies, read a book, and then encapsulate yourself or shield your chamber, shield your house, and make places where it's harder to be affected by pathological energies. So know yourself, know your weaknesses, know your emotions, and know when it's good for you to encapsulate yourself. I think that's the tip.
All right, Cicero.
Yeah. May I complement something about also the encapsulation? There is a technique, we discussed this in Conscientiology, also in ASSIPI about encapsulation. And my perception of this technique, when you really apply the technique of encapsulating, basically you are with your own energies and no other energies. So basically it seems that you are not more with these pathological energies. The encapsulation is exactly to be in a state that you are not more with other external energies. Okay, so it's not so easy. So many times you can, for example, try to encapsulate, you do the technique, but maybe sometimes it do not works totally. Okay, but I really think if you really encapsulate yourself, when we say about this, the main idea is that you get only with your energies, with decrease the level of interactions with external energies. So you improve, you send energies to your energetic, you move intensely your energies in a way that you want to be like isolated in terms of energy. So in this case, when you are encapsulated, you can go to a more pathologic place. You can go, for example, inside a place that has not good energies, and you can live without have bad symptoms. Okay, but in this case, of course, you are not interacting too much energetically to the environment because you are protected. Okay, so the idea of encapsulation, for me, it's very closer to this idea of protecting yourselves in terms of energies, outside energies. Okay, so just
Hmm.
to complement this, I understand your question, and there is this idea. Yes, we move energies, we do we try to keep our energies, but sometimes there are still other energies. Okay, so but I just like to clarify about the encapsulation, my perception about this technique.
Yeah, I would just like to add something, Cicero, about what you have just mentioned, which is when you say that we should be, right, well, we have to be with our own energies, but we have to be aware of the quality of our energies, right? Because there is something that is very important to say when we are in encapsulation, when we use the encapsulation technique, is that let's put these things this way: we have to be with our energies free from intrusion, right? I know sometimes it's hard because if we are going to use the technique of operational state when we are not well, right, when our feeling our energies assimilated or intoxicated, we are really going to get trapped in our psychosphere with the intruder inside. I remember when I was going over a recycling, right? To stop smoking, for example, right? In the beginning, it was very hard for me when I felt the pressure of the extra physical consciousnesses, coming to smoke, right? And we were to get connected with this, with those consciousness, extra physical consciousness. And sometimes in the beginning, of course, I felt like smoking. I felt like smoking. Then I get connected with this intoxicating energies from the smokers, from the extra physical smokers. And I used the technique at the vibrational state, but it didn't work. Why? Because I was connected with the pleasure of smoking. And what I did, what could help me at that time, right? Because I was really trying to cleanse my energies. I did the vibrational state. I did encapsulation, but I wanted to smoke. I was really feeling like smoking. So how can I get free of this kind of intrusion when my thozine is still intoxicated? Right? For example, we have a problem with someone, we get upset about someone, right? Sometimes we feel angry about someone, and then we immediately after that we just make the vibrational states to get cleansed from this situation. But if we're still feeling angry about someone, how can we cleanse ourselves? Do you understand? So the first step is stop and rationalize exactly what you said, sister. Rationalize, because if we rationalize, we get out of the emotion stuff, right? And we have a more clear vision of the situation and say, why am I doing, why am I intoxicated by someone else's energy? This is their energy, it's not my energy. So I'm okay. I have to be more essential. I have to be protective about myself, about my energies. And then I get rid of that energy. And then it's going to work. And we'll be able to help the other. Because otherwise, our 13s will be so intoxicated and so assimilated that we'll be unable to assist. So how can we, at that time, that the example I had when I was trying to stop smoking, what could I do? What could differentiate me? What could take me out of that vibes? My intention. My intention. Sometimes we are unable to deal with certain things, right? We are unable to deal with certain parts of energies, but our intention is, I want to get rid of this. I want to get rid of it. So we have to do as many vibrational states as we can in our everyday life. Now we have in Conscientiology the number of 20 VS a day to trigger 20 VS a day. I strongly suggest, if you want to get really, um, if you want to master your energies, you have to practice. You have to practice because your intention will qualify your 13. Just something to add here. Is there any other comment you would like to make, Jader?
Yes, yes. I just add one more thing about your explanation. Um, Two powers we have as a consciousness: will and intentionality, as you
Hmm.
mentioned. If you want to change something in your life, you need to start with your thoughts and your sentiments. And we use in conscientiology the word is recycling, almost recycling. I don't know exactly the word in English, but is uh, uh, transform your life, your thoughts, your sentiments, and something better. And this is all intrusion start with your self intrusion. It starts with your the quality of your thoughts and your feelings. So the other thing is the book. I would like to mention this book from our friends Maximiliano Hahnemann is a prescription for self de
Self
intrusion,
de-intrusion, de-intrusion,
self
self
intrusion.
de-intrusion. Yeah.
And there is a chapter exactly about our subject, self defense interconsciential, in the third session. It's a good book to read. Okay, it's just this. Thank you.
Very good, Shader. I'd like to say that we have an activity every Monday, right, at 3 p.m., from 3 to 4 p.m., which is Psychic Encounters, an activity held in English. A round of discussion proposed that based on the projections of the consciousness book and other parapsychic experiences. Right, people? So every Monday at 3 p.m., we get together to read one chapter of this book by Professor Valdo Vieira, which was the book we started actually projectiology and conscientiology. It's a very important publication in conscientiology. We read one chapter of this book and we start with a debate based on the book, but also, and most importantly, based on our own experiences. So we really encourage people to tell us the experience they had and to talk about it eventually if you have questions. And all these questions will be answered in a very lively conversation. It's a very good activity we have every single Monday. So to get, if to subscribe to this activity, please go to the ASSIPI website, assipi.org/loja, and you can make a subscription to this activity. Okay, people, we have one more question coming up now, which from Renata Diaz Machado. Our friend Renata is here. Can we use the environment energies in order to improve our energies and, of course, our energetic self-defense? Marcello.
Yes, we can. Certainly. When you're trying to enhance your shielding energies, and you're trying to develop the shield uh, in your environment, so you can absorb the energies of an extra physical uh, plant power, for example, or you can absorb the energies from nature, from Niagara Falls or Iguazu Falls or the beach, depending on the connection that you have with nature and those places. So you can improve your energies connecting with the energies of the environment. So even you can create your own field of energy, like when you shield your chambers, when you shield your office, and you can connect to that energies to improve your self-defense.
Very good. Cicero,
Yeah.
Jada, any
Yeah.
comment?
Yeah, this when we deal with development of our energies, I think this is very important to know how to use the environment to develop your energies in our day life. So we have energies from food, we have energies when we rest, when we sleep, when we breathe, and many aspects. But when we deal with this energetic development of energies, everything is all connected. For example, if you do physical exercise, so if you are walking in a street where there has trees or things like this, usually is better the environment for you to get good energies, and all the time you are improving your energies, and this is very important. And this can be also applied with techniques, the techniques that you are really moving your energies, you are exteriorizing, absorbing energies, circulating energy. So you create a dynamic energetic body. And this dynamic energetic body, you can improve your energies, like I could say, like all the time you are in contact with these energies, you are interacting. So if you are more interactive with the environment, and you perceive that environment has good energies, also the discrimination of the quality of the energies you want to interact, of course, then you can improve your energetic uh, abilities. And this is also very interconnected to the energetic self-defense. So if you have more a dynamic energetic body, or you know how to use your bioenergies, you have more tools or more techniques that are able to be used when you want to have self-defense. So not all the time you need to use proactively the self-defense. Many times it happens naturally, the self-defense, when you are aware of the energies, aware of the environment. So this could be like a second nature for you to be more in a state of self-defense. But this, of course, is the practical way of developing your energies. And I think this you come more and more closer to this level of self-defense, like all the time, or you have less interference. Okay, this is something that you can be developed. I say for myself, I'm in the development, trying to reach more and more abilities of energies to get better, of course, of self-defense.
Very good. And here in the glossary, we have the term for energetic shooting of environment. Marcelo mentioned something that's very important concerning energies and the work with energies, which is the energetic shooting. And I would just like to read the definition very quickly, right, for you to get aware of it, which is energetic shooting of environment means the act or effect of consciously safeguarding the intra and extra physical environments where a conscient or intraphysical consciousness lives, works, sleeps, and interacts by shooting them with one's own consciential energy, right? And I think the other one, Marcelo, was the energetic shooting chamber, right? This is also, when you shoot our chamber, our bedroom, right? The private intraphysical room, and energetically defended and extraphysically aseptic in one's home. That's very important too. And we've been talking about vibrational state. It's important to say that the vibrational state is a technique, right, in which, for the newcomers, in which we just concentrate energies on top of our head, right, and then we carry these energies until the tools and pass all over the body, and then back to the top of the head, and then to the tools again, you know then gradually you just increase the speed of the energies, right, this doing this movement, and gradually you increase the speed until the speed is high enough for you to feel that your energy is vibrating. Okay, you may not feel the energy vibrating in the first attempt by doing this technique, but you insist on it because your energies are moving anyway, whether you're able to feel them or not, right? So we just insist, because sometimes say, oh, I'm not feeling anything, I'm not feeling the energy vibrating. Okay, don't worry. Sometimes you're not sensitive to feel your energies, but your energies are being mobilized anyway. Okay, so but if you insist on the practice of the vibrational state technique, then you might feel you might be more sensitive to the energies and feel them working around your body, right? That's that, people. I would like to say something which is very important. We've been talking about energy and environments and so on. In July, we still don't have the flyer, but I'm just saying now that in July, we'll have the first course entirely held in English by Karina Eliasha, which is one specialist in energies of the environments. We'll have Karina's course coming up in July sometime. Okay, we will advertise when it's closer to date, but I'm just saying this, proudly saying that this year we'll have our first course entirely held in English by Karina Eliasha, talking about the energies of the environment. So all the topics that we're going over today will be carefully treated and talked about Karina in this course. I think it's an unmissable course, but we are going to advertise this course as soon as we get closer to dates, right? So in July, it's coming up in ASSIPI English, the first course entirely held in English. Good. People, that's that. One thing that we were talking about, I read the Renata's question, and I was just thinking about something that happened to me in the past, but not now. Which is how the energies of the environment interfere in our energies. And I think that we should spare some time to talk about this context, a specific context, which is when we go to places that energies are not good. I used to go to museums. I love museums, but I used to go to the museums, and when I didn't practice the VS, the vibrational state, I felt the museum with headaches, a few nauseous, and lots of other repercussions, negatively speaking. So, Jade, how can we go in and out the places safely?
Okay. I should say you install the vibrational state because you can use it for many as a tool for many things. So if you know that you should go to some specific place and you already know that's not good for you, you can use it for the vibrational state. You can use it for encapsulate yourself and go away and do what you need to do. But sometimes you need to avoid this kind of this kind of place. Depends of yourself, depends your parapsychic capacity and your ability to deal with this kind of energy, this kind of energies. So, but the vibrational state is a good tip to use it. And maybe if you are asking, how can I do this? Use your will. How can I absorb the energy using your will? For example, just a tip, guys. When you open and close your hands, you are using your will and focus your attention on this movement. With your energy, it's the same. And Mario says you can accumulate your energies on the top of your head and goes to down and back again and do this movement only using your will. So you can use the vibrational state when you go to the museum and encapsulate yourself and is a kind of defense for this kind of energy, this pattern of energy.
Yes, and it's very important to say because it happens a lot. Sometimes when we talk to someone, right, or we are in a group of friends and something happens and we feel so bad, but sometimes we watch something on television that makes us feel really bad with the energies really bad. So we might be in a situation that we assimilate energies from people and from environments, from a show, from a film, whichever, right? Marcelo, I think it's very important because you're just 5 minutes to finish our talk today. But I would like to mention this de-assimilation. I think de-assimilation is crucial, essential, right? To keep our energies well and keep ourselves protected from these pathological energies. How to de-assimilate, Marcelo?
Yeah, of course. I will say how I do it during my day. So I mobilize my energies and many. I plan my day, my habits. So when I call for the elevator, I mobilize my energies and try to install the vibrational state. So I install the vibrational state in some places that are triggers for me many times a day. I do some relaxations techniques. So I do I relax my muscles during the morning. I work out every day. I try to have a good meal. I try to sleep 8 hours a day. So I try to do things that would smooth and to protect my energies and to get in touch with those energies. So there is the signaling, the parapsychism signaling. So when I'm well with my energies, when I'm mobilizing my energies, when I'm installing the vibrational state, and I feel an intrusion, so I can know this intrusion and de-assimilate. So I mobilize my energies. I change the block of thoughts that I'm having. I try to go for a run, for a walk. I try to read a book. So those are some of my techniques to de-assimilate when I'm with external energy intruding my energies. When I'm coupling with bad energies, for example.
Very nice. Cicero, Jada would like to add something?
And for me, it's okay. It's a good technique. Sometimes I use the same. You need to go another thing, to do another thing. Watch a funny movie, and I think it's exercise is a good tip because during the exercise you are in this de-assimilating, and it's good for your body and for your health at the same time.
Yes, and even when someone needs help, right, and the person calls us or talks to us about a problem, right, it's important for us to get set to this conversation, right, get set for this conversation, because if we are not considering, the how the energies work or how intoxicated they might be after having a conversation which is not very positive or even negative, because the tendency is that we just go and we all of a sudden feel ourselves badly and so on. So when we are talking to someone that is really telling us something really hard or heavy, or you feel the energies are not very good, immediately you start to have our energetic self-defense, right? By doing this protection using the VS technique, I think it's definitely a very useful and efficient technique. People, I
Yeah,
think we are
just
approaching to the end. Go ahead.
just come to my mind in this way also very important really the prophylaxis, so to
Yes,
anticipate, to be prepared for everything, and also to not be naive in this situation. So there are some moments that we think it's all fine, but sometimes not. So it's very good to be prepared for all moments with everyone, every place, all the time. So basically this we can keep being part, not being difficult to this. This is part of our life, can be
sure.
naturally done by this.
Yeah, because we just sometimes start a conversation and we are open to whichever person is up to say to us. We hear absolutely everything, but we don't consider that we are exchanging energies. And definitely we are facing pathological energies from the person or from an environment, for example, but we have to be just aware of it, say, okay, well, hold there. So I think that this moment is even when we want to talk about something which is very delicate or a difficult topic, then we should protect ourselves energetically. uh, all in all, we have to consider that we have energies, and these energies have an interaction with other people and environments, that we have a thought scene with the thoughts, sentiments attached to our energies, and these units is actually how we communicate with other people. As we are talking about how we communicate with other people, and we are just about to finish to wrap up our conversation today. Next, Let's Talk will be March 27th, and we're going to talk about telepathy. Telepathy is one of parapsychic ability by which we communicate through our mind. Telepathy is very much used in the extraphysical environment. So one more very interesting talk to talk about next month. I hope to see the whole of you there, right, people? And I thank you so much the participation of our dear talkers today, Cicero, Marcelo, and Shader.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.